This is the 18th, right?
Sairam, I hope everyone can hear me okay. Let's start the study circle with 3 ohms. Om, 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 om. Dear Swami, we are so grateful to be able to meet here together in your presence today. While we are here together studying your word in your Bhagavata Vahini, we ask that you open our ears and hearts to whatever it is you want us to learn. Please speak through each one of us and help us progress in our spiritual journey. Jai Sai Ram. Sai Ram, everyone. Thank you all for joining today. I want to make sure everyone can hear me. If you can just say something so that
Yes, Saira.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. So let's just move on. I just want to remind everyone to mute your cell phones if you have not already done so. Let's speak from the heart and listen with humility, and be fully present during this discussion. So let us try to leave our egos outside of our discussion today. That will help us to grow spiritually much faster. So just a little review from our last session. We kicked off our session with a short meditation, and then continued our discussion on Swami's discourse. We talked about scientific advancement versus spiritual growth. We talked about the importance of selfless service, because and this was all related to Swami's quote on how we can practice, or what is important in today's lives for each one of us. And then he talked about resolving conflicts with compromise, and we discussed what could be major barriers. We discussed what makes us better. We talked about the importance of values. In all of this discussion, I'm over simplifying our entire discussion, but we had a healthy, great discussion on Saturday. And today we are going to continue our Bhagavata Vahini series. Today is the 89th session. And and I think the first thing that I would like everyone to do is kind of just thank Swami, that 89 of these sessions have successfully completed. So on Saturday, we'd actually be 90 sessions done. And I think that is a commitment that we have taken up, and we are almost there till the end. So I think that is something that we should be truly grateful for, this opportunity for Swami and for us to have that idea even, to lead these discussions. Anyone has anything to add? Okay, so today I think we'll move on to the next chapter, and I request everyone to just mute, because once I start the audio, I can't see the participants or the chat. So, and whatever I do, it will kind of stop the audio. So if you can just go on mute, listen to the chapter, and then once we start our discussions, you can all come off of mute. Thank you. Sairam.
Bhagavatha Vahini, Chapter 38. Serpent Kaliya. Listen, O king, to this momentous event, said Sukha. The divine boy Gopala was but God who had taken human form in sheer sport. He grew up like human children and attained the age of 5. No one can know the significance of his movements. He was never in the habit of communicating to others about his sports or leelas, either before or after. One has only to observe and obey. No one can guess their nature or plumb their meaning, whoever he may be, whatever his attainments. One day, he collected the cattle secretly so that even the parents did not know anything about it. Every day, the elder brother at least would know, and he would also accompany, but that day, even he was not aware of it. Krishna got together his comrades from the cowherd homes and proceeded with the cattle to the bank of the Yamuna river. He took them to a deep pool in the river, which people generally avoided. That pool had a sinister history. Pools such as that one will naturally be stagnant and slushy, but this pool was blue in color and boiling hot. The water was bubbling ceaselessly, emitting steam into the upper air. A cloud hung over it in consequence. Whoever breathed that atmosphere fouled by the fumes breathed his last, to the consternation and amazement of all. Birds that innocently flew over that pool were so fatally poisoned that they flapped their wings violently in despair and rolled down dead into its depths. Everyone in Gokul knew all about this mortal trap, this deadly wonder. They were carefully avoiding approaching it. They warned their children against it. They vigilantly prevented their cattle from grazing anywhere near it. Of course, Krishna's comrades protested vehemently and pleaded with him that he should not go near that pool. They prayed long and loud, but it was all in vain. Krishna asserted that he must go to that very pool. That was his predetermined destination that day. The boys drew him back and did their best to prevent the inevitable disaster. He shook them off and, removing his clothes, announced that he would delight in swimming inside that poisonous pool. The boys could not muster enough courage to warn him aloud against the terrors of that pool. Their mild protestations he brushed aside. With a certain perverse will of his own, he got upon a tree on the bank and plunged into the horrid pool by the side of the bank. He did not come up for a long time. The cowherd boys, for whom Krishna was the very breath of their lives, were overwhelmed with fear. They gathered round the pool and started calling him in unbearable agony, sobbing and shedding tears of extreme grief. Meanwhile, Gopala appeared above the waters, shaking the pool as if an earthquake was rocking it with the strokes of his swimming. Suddenly, they saw a huge serpent following him, spitting poison and belching fire like a volcano through its glowing eyes. The boys could not look on at this dreadful scene without crying out in uncontrollable anguish. Krishna, come on to the bank, come this way, come to this bank. Krishna swam about as if he did not hear their prayers. He was happy in the pool, thrilled with excitement and joy. At last, the serpent succeeded in pursuing Krishna round the pool through the tossing waves. It wound itself round his body, gradually tightening the grip. Seeing this, some boys ran as fast as they could to Gokul and broke the news to Nanda and Yashoda, the father and mother of Krishna. They wept aloud while telling them what had happened. Immediately, Nanda and Yashoda, with all the Gopas and Gopis, the entire population of Gokul, ran towards the poisonous pool, urged on by fear that some dire calamity was about to overtake Krishna. Balarama, the elder brother too, was among them. He knew the strength and skill of Krishna. So, he calmed the anxiety of the parents. He assured them that no calamity can befall Krishna. He consoled and conferred confidence in many ways. Within a short time, the bank of the river was packed thick with people. On all sides, the cry of despair, "Krishna! Oh Krishna!" was resounding from every throat, steeped in grief. Many fainted and lost consciousness when they cast their looks at Krishna and the serpent. Oh, it was indeed a heart-rending sight. Many gopis could not bear to see Krishna caught in the coils of that mighty monster, dragged down into the blood-red waters one moment, pulling himself up the next, struggling valiantly with the serpent which was emitting fiery sparks of poison. Yashoda and many gopis fainted and fell on the sands. They were nursed by others back into consciousness. When they came to, they wept plaintively and called out the name of their beloved Krishna. "My dear child, where was this horrible serpent hiding all the while? Why did it emerge now?" lamented Yashoda in despair. A few of his comrades sobbed, "Cannot the serpent strike its fangs on us instead of wounding Krishna? Can it not release Gopala?" Some cowherd maidens prepared themselves to plunge into the pool so that the serpents may give up Krishna and attack them instead. "We shall give our lives so that Krishna may be saved," they declared. But Balarama stood in their way. He assured them that Krishna will come out unscathed, that no harm can approach him. He called out to Krishna to come out soon after triumphing over the monster. Many gopis prayed ardently for victory to Krishna, for the safety of Krishna is the safety of the worlds. Our Krishna is the sole sovereign of all the worlds. Therefore, may Krishna be released quickly from the stranglehold of the serpent. Their prayers were addressed to the very Krishna whom they wished to save by means of the prayer. They opened their eyes, even while praying, to find out whether he had released himself already. The huge gathering on the river bank was awaiting, with eyes that did not even wink, the release of Krishna that may happen any moment. They were overpowered by fear and anxiety, hope and faith. At that moment, oh, how can I contemplate and describe that scene to you, O King? Sukha could not proceed. He could not suppress the flow of ananda, grief, wonder, and adoration that rose from his heart. He was so overcome that he covered his face behind his clasped palms in a vain effort to suppress his tears. Parikshit saw this and he exclaimed, "Master, Master, what wonder is this? What happened later? What calamity intervened that you are grieving thus? Please, please tell me quick." Sukha recovered his composure, wiping the flow of tears with the end of his ochre robe. He said, Maharaja, no calamity took place, yet this wonder happened. Krishna grew so fast, so big, and so tall every moment that the serpent had to uncoil from around him ring by ring. When the Gopas and Gopis saw the little child growing before their very eyes, they were struck with amazement and joy. At last, the serpent had to release its hold. It was too exhausted to do any harm. Still, its anger was unabated. So, it vomited poison into the waters and the air. It lifted its hoods every few moments and fixed its glare on Krishna, as if its desire to finish him was still unquenched. Meanwhile, Krishna caught it by its tail and whirled the serpent pretty fast. He beat the surface of the water with its body. This forced the serpent to hang down its heads, but with great effort it struggled to keep them erect over the waters. Then Krishna jumped upon it, and holding the tail in one hand, he decided to dance upon the line of its hoots. The serpent could not bear the weight of the Lord, stepping merrily from hoot to hoot. It was bleeding profusely from nose to mouth. It cried out piteously through pain and shame. It could scarcely breathe. It was about to die. Seeing this, the people who were gathered on the bank shouted in joy and confidence, "O Krishna, come over to the bank now. You have saved us all from this monster. The crisis is over. You have won the victory. Our prayers have been answered. We have won the fruit of our good deeds." While the cowherd boys were thus exulting over the amazing turn of events, the serpents who were the consorts of the monster rose from the depths of the pool, sobbing aloud and in great anguish. They fell at the feet of Krishna and prayed, "O Lord, you have incarnated with the avowed object of punishing the wicked and the vicious. So, your trampling of this monster and curbing his pride is right and proper. It is but just. You have merely carried out your task and mission, but, however cruel our husband was, we are sure that his nature has been transformed when your feet were planted on his heads. Pardon him, O Lord, and give us back our husband with your gracious blessings. Save him and bless him, that he no longer cause any living thing any harm." The Lord agreed to grant their prayers. He pardoned the monster, Kaliya. He released him with the admonition, "Henceforth, do not inflict injury on anyone without provocation. Be sattvic in nature. I bless you that no one will harm you and provoke you into vengeance. You carry on your heads my footprints, and so even your natural enemy, the Garuda, eagle, will not harm you anymore. Go, live in peace."
Okay, Sairam. I think that was a very interesting and nicely written chapter. Does anyone have anything to add? Otherwise, I do have a few questions here. Okay, so I just thought that first thing that came to my mind was how Krishna's friends and parents and everyone was so paralyzed with fear, right? Unable to understand his actions. And that I think fear comes for us much faster than we can imagine. A lot of them knew Krishna's divine powers. A lot of them knew he was a different child, but they were so much in fear. Um, they did not know what his actions would lead to. So my thought was, what does this teach us about trusting the divine? I mean, many things that happen to us, of course, we don't have, you know, probably something like this right away, but many times when we are in, I guess, in peril, we do not, our first thing is not um, to cultivate our faith or move towards our faith. We still, uh, so how can we build that? Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. What does this teach us about trusting the divine, even when his actions appear irrational or dangerous? And when I say his actions, I'm just talking about, because we always think that, oh, why does this happen to me? Or, those thoughts do come from time to time. It's lesser for some, may not come for some, but definitely, that uh, internally we are always fearful of a challenging situation. So how can we cultivate faith during such situations? We've talked about this before, nothing that we have not talked. But what I wanted to actually focus on was also human logic. So logically, him going into the pool, or being near such a poisonous place is not is something that we would all kind of not be okay with. So
Saira,
faith beyond logic. Yeah, please go ahead, Pankaj.
Saira. Before we go into that one, what I felt was, when Krishna decides to go and kill Kalia, he doesn't tell anyone. So he goes straight, and he decides and he goes, right? Sometimes what happens is, when we are convinced that something that is good, that has to be done, if we seek the opinions of others, they will always come up with some reason as to why that may not be the right thing to do. So if he had sought even his closest friends, the opinion that, or tell them that he's going to do this, they will all try to say, no, you're too small. How can you do that? That's a five-headed serpent. It's very poisonous, and that water is this one, all that. So they will give 1,000 reasons, and so your mind may change. So this is an example that when we are convinced that what we are to do is correct, it's best that you go ahead and do it rather than wait and seek opinions of others. That's what it struck me there, as to what it's an example as to how to approach something that we are convinced that it's good.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah, the faith beyond logic. See, the thing is, if you look at from there, others other than Krishna, even though they can see that he is a divine child or blessed child, that's how they can relate. He was different, but they don't have any idea about how much power he has, how much, what do you say, how he can, how much, what all he can do. They don't know. These are all the examples that through which he has established himself as God, or as the highest power. So at that point, the faith beyond logic, the logic definitely will come, because the faith is based on the knowledge, right? When we know that as God, he can do anything. Whether they knew that he was God with so much power or not, we don't know. It's questionable at that time. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if
No, makes sense, Iram. Absolutely. It's just that the story is so. I mean, there's really the things that flow out. I know a lot of us have discussed this before, so I know that the discussion wise, we may not have something to add to everything, but definitely these are pointers that we want to take away. For example, divine play, going on to the next one as well, our fears limit us, because we don't know we are divine, or we are, we have our own baggage of what ifs, and we always think we are not strong enough. That is, can we train ourselves to not see certain things as threats?
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know
these are all yeah, we first of all, I think this will happen if the cause is good. I think that is
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, the cause has to be good. If that is the case, then have complete faith, and then it will happen. See, that faith, as you said, that total unconditional faith is the one that is needed. And how far, see, I know that in, I think, Singapore or Malaysia only, um they had committed to, so they had taken up a huge project in the Sai organization. They had taken up a huge project. You may be aware of it. This is, what I'm saying is more than 20 years back. 20 at that time they were just they had committed for a huge project, and they were not sure whether they will have enough funds to do it, but they committed. And then they found out that everything was falling in line, and they were able to complete the project successfully. So in other words, when the cause is good, at that time a project may seem too big or very difficult, but if the cause is good and if you have the complete faith, it will happen. So that faith definitely makes wonders.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
these are all
just,
lessons. I think it is lessons for us also
right.
as an individual. um, Sometimes it may be even to do something good for some this one, we may find it hesitant to go and do it as so that is why that the mind or the fellow members of the family, all those things, if we seek opinion, it may die down, it may get diluted, so we may not proceed. I think sometimes it's just best to venture and commit, and then go about doing it, and then everything will happen, will fall in place.
Okay. So my let me so I'm just going through these questions. If anyone has anything to add, please feel free. It's just that I don't want to read through the chapter and not think of it. And I believe that once we ask these questions, at least you will, there'll be a thought process that will engage us into thinking what we learned from this chapter. So with that, actually, the Kalia being subdued, because Krishna left his footprints. That I thought was very profound. Many times, and we've heard so many stories of even Swami doing the same thing, one Pada Namaskar, and, the people don't even know that they have transformed before, so it's not a punishment. So Krishna did not punish Kalia. Basically, he did not kill him. He, his book does not say that. And how can we apply that kind of a, he didn't condemn. That's a very big thing. And how can we apply principle of transformation in ourselves? And I don't think and we can transform anyone else, but definitely within ourselves, to um, again, I go back to faith, but again, we do need that grace as well. So what does this show about God's way of reforming us rather than condemning us, right? How can we apply this principle? How can we be aware that this happens every time? We all make mistakes. We do, we all, at least when we are sitting in this satsang, we do believe that Swami is gracious enough. He's always forgiving. and ever loving.
See, the primary requirement for that is the realization of the mistake. In this case, Kalia is an example of ego, or any other story that we have always discussed, like Prahalada, Hiranyakashipu, even Kamsa. It's all comes with once they achieve some spiritual or some skills, then the ego comes in, and then they lose their equanimity, and then they think that they are the most powerful. And so when that thing happens, it takes some big what do you call, in this case, for example, when Kalia was just egoistic, completely taking control of that pool, Krishna had to fight him to show his place. So something big will have to happen to change. So the transformation can happen when something big happens. Hopefully, we won't allow the ego to all these satsang that we are having is all to temper that, so that none of our the 6 or 5 weaknesses or desire, the kama, krodha, lobha, mada, matsalya, all these things, if we don't allow them to become very powerful, if we control them, then obviously that transformation need not and can't take place even without a major event. Otherwise, the transformation happens with a big bang. So what your question is, after the transformation, the God, obviously, Swami or any divinity, the love is the personification, right? So obviously there is no hate there for the divinity. So obviously there is no reason to kill or to punish, because there is no question of punishment when there is love completely, when there is total unconditional love. So the once they transform, then that is the purpose. That is the purpose. Even I think Hiranyakashipu, when Lord Narasimha comes and takes, I think Narayana, Prahlada prays for him. What happens? I think Hiranyakashipu is killed, I think, right? He's killed. Because that was that story.
But the boon actually comes because he has 3 lifetimes or whatever. That is a choice that they are given right before Hiranyakashipu does that. I don't know the story.
I don't know. But anyway, but I think that transformation is the main goal for which the God or divinity's main goal is transformation, because everything aids towards realizing that we are all divine. So if there will be challenges, and we have to overcome that.
Yeah, that is truly something that we all need to focus on, and that is transformation for sure.
Yeah.
So I actually have let's see. Oh, I do have the rest of this, but we can come back to this, because the power of humility is what I think we can definitely dwell on. We did not we touched upon humility, and but Kalia's arrogance was crushed when Krishna danced upon his hoods, yet it was humble. So through his wife's prayers, that's what I'm referring to, and that finally earned him pardon. Why is humility the turning point for transformation? Even in spiritual life, of course, I don't think it's any different, but what does humility mean?
I think it's whether we call it humility or the realization or the overcome of these five the vices.
Yeah.
I think those are the requirements for the pardon, because that is the one that is the turning point. In this case, the humility is the opposite of the ego or arrogance. So,
Right.
so in this case, Kalia's arrogance was transformed. So he got transformed and became humble. But whether he became humble or wives were probably, they were already humble and they were just so they prayed. I don't know, in this story it's not revealed that he himself has sought the pardon of Krishna, and
No. Yeah. That's not. Yeah.
that's not there. But I think that transformation is what is indirectly hinted in that. So
Right.
he obviously, when he loses his power, that ego gets crushed completely. That's natural to happen.
So
So yeah,
being humble in today's day and age, right, is a little confusing. I mean, in many aspects, I think, because humility, we have to be humble, but we should not have low self-esteem.
correct. Yeah.
So that kind of balance needs to happen, and we should be aware of. Um, I mean, this is because I myself always go back to, am I saying this because I don't have the confidence that, I'll get this done, or I'm truly being humble and kind of, accepting. So those are things that I think is like a gray area when we actually try to imbibe these this quality, and sometimes even if we are confident, uh, we are so confident that our tone does not reflect um, the humility, just because we have done it before or whatever it may be, we may not sound like it. So these are things that I think, transforming ourselves, we can become aware of what we lack or where we lack. I'm just talking out loud because these are things that I have observed about myself, and I don't I- these are things that each one has to take their own path. But being humble is something that uh, is not often easy to do, and you have to question yourself. You have to have that clarity of that action before we say, before we talk about humility, I think.
Yes. See, the humility doesn't mean lack of skill or lack of knowledge. So you have that skill and you have that knowledge, and yet you are not egoistic or arrogant, and then you are humble. So because you feel that uh, what you know is nothing in compared to what you don't know. So from that standpoint, what you know is so less, so little compared to what is possible to be known. So for example, I think Rama is the best example of so they say, I think his IQ level was the best, and apparently
Mm-hmm.
his decisions were all spot on. We read about it, we discussed this also earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So he would give the best decision for any disputes that come in front of him. So but yet he is the epitome of humility. So he would never say, oh, you have to do it because I say so. He would always give that choice to the people to make the decision. So he's the perfect example. So humility doesn't mean uh, lack of skill or weakness. So you mentioned that humility could
Yeah.
be considered as a sign of weakness. So if it is a sign of weakness, then there is no chance of that ego coming in, because you're naturally, you're not going to be egoistic or arrogant about it. So in
Not
spite of
arrogant. Yeah,
yes,
agreed.
yeah,
So ego is not just about arrogance, right? Ego is also when you don't feel confident.
correct, correct.
Low esteem also is egoistic action. It is, you may low self-esteem is also considered an egoistic action. It is not a pure action. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So if I mean, the lack of I mean, I just said lack of knowledge or lack of skill,
Yeah.
that is all relative. So if you're going to compare with somebody and say, oh, I do not have that skill, or I lack in that, I lack in that, all that, the moment you compare, then it could lead to either superiority ego or an inferiority ego. Either way, it's not good. So just accepting the way we are, because each of us is different. So the accepting the way we are and then moving on in life, I think that is the best. So then um so whatever we have, will it doesn't matter, because that what we don't have is probably going to be there too. So what we have and what we don't have is always going to be there, wherever, whenever, I mean, throughout our lives. So I think if we have to look at it from that standpoint. So, for example, we have this house or we have this car. If we don't have this car, there is no point in craving for it. Oh, I don't have a car. I don't have this car. Or just because we have a car, there's no point in saying, oh, I have this car. So either way, it's nothing is going to change.
Yeah.
Nothing is going to change. So there is no reason to be egoistic either way.
Right.
I'm just saying something based on
No,
what
yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you.
yeah,
I just think that being humble is not as easy as it seems. That's all that I wanted to point out,
yeah,
because even for that, you need to be very aware of how
correct,
you are, of what you are, and what your thought processes are like.
correct.
And that is the point of this little question here.
Yeah, see,
So
it is sorry.
please
It
go ahead.
is even when we want to be humble, when we don't want to be egoistic, sometimes the words or the actions may be construed to be
Correct.
egoistic. So that is also there. The outward appearance also could be there. So whether you have full control over it or not is not clear, but for that, the prayer is the only way out, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, I think we have about 10-15 minutes. I just wanted to go through a discourse by Swami, and this is our beginning of our discussion on faith and surrender. So I'm just going to read this discourse. Man can accomplish anything if he surrenders to God. When he submits himself to the will of the divine, there is no task he cannot accomplish. Kuchala, a boyhood friend of Krishna, approached Krishna for help on the basis of his old friendship. How did Krishna help him? The Bhagavata bears testimony to what Krishna did for Kuchala. The Ramayana tells the story of what Rama did for Sugriva after the latter became a friend of Rama and sought his help. Sugriva was able to regain his kingdom. What did Vibhishana get after his constant remembrance of Rama and the ordeals he experienced in Lanka? Relieving him of his troubles, Rama crowned Vibhishana the ruler of Lanka. Once a devotee totally surrenders to the Lord, the divine goes to any extent to help the devotee. An insignificant little stick, by association with fire, burns brilliantly. A drop of water held in your palm evaporates in a trice, but when it is cast into the ocean, it becomes one with it. If man wants to achieve highest human potentialities, he has to achieve proximity to God. He has to merge in the divine. Then he can manifest his true nature. Not realizing the true nature of the divine principle, man wastes his time on rituals and religious practices of various kinds. God cannot be realized through such practices. It is only by loving God and getting close to Him that one can realize one's aspirations. Swami does not approve of sadhana, spiritual practices. They are good activities for using time sacredly, but without service to godly persons, they are of no use for realizing freedom from the cycle of mundane existence. Sai Ram. This is Swami's quote, and I think he really puts it very well sorry, um, into talking about surrender, and what it means to. The reason I picked this is because there is a little bit of friendship. There is, um, there are different ways that each one of them that Swami gave as examples are connected. And in all of them, be it Sugriva, Kuchala, or Vibhishana, they had a relationship with God, and their relationship was different. Each one had their own, and wanted to find out what do you find inspiring. What is your take on these things, and on these relationships is what I'm talking about. And what quality of their relationship with God do you find most inspiring? I think we can go around, and feel free to just say a word.
Sorry, I'll just come again.
Yeah.
See, Kuchela,
Mm-hmm.
take the example of Kuchela.
Mm-hmm.
He was close friend to Krishna in the childhood days,
Mm-hmm.
but later on, as he grew up, and he was not doing well at all, and had a huge family,
Yes.
a large family.
Mm-hmm.
And when his wife prompts him to go and see Krishna, his lack of wealth or lack of standing in the society
Correct. He doesn't.
was a big thing, just like what we were discussing before. That ego was just coming into picture as to
Mm-hmm.
what will Krishna do, or what will he think. He may not even remember me, or they won't even allow me to go and see Krishna
Yeah.
because he's so poor. So all these things come, but then we know that Krishna is so loving, and
Yeah.
remember each and everything, and entertain him. So sometimes with God also we feel like that. We feel our weaknesses come into picture, and then we may say, oh, I am not good at it, or I am not doing this, or I am not doing that. So but God is ever merciful, ever forgiving, and ever loving. So we have to remember that. And we were even discussing about God as the best friend.
Right.
And these are all the examples that we can look at, where God shows himself as the best friend.
Absolutely. Anyone else?
Yeah, Sairam, I'm trying to answer these questions that what I consider according to my personal experience. So I consider myself as karma yogi because that's what I find it easier. Like Jnana yogi is like if there's an ocean of wealth. I try to attend satsang, try to learn a little bit every time, but I feel that it is easy for me to actually just do the right things
Mm-hmm.
and
So how
to
do you think, what is your relationship with God then in that case?
that's what sakha and a guide. I
Hmm.
just feel that I kind of things open up for me and I just keep following it. I try not to use too much of my brain when I'm trying to do some service.
Yeah.
And so that's why the first thing is surrender comes. I feel that's the easiest for me rather than kind of thinking what's right, what's not. I just feel within me that the things that open up, oh, I should just keep working on towards that path. So
Absolutely.
those are my words for me. Surrender. God is my sakha and I'm a karma yogi. Saira.
Sairam. Anyone else have anything to add?
Saidam.
Mhm.
See, this Swami compares, and talking about the third bullet, compares man to a drop merging in the
Yeah.
ocean. See, what it means is that if we do the right thing,
Mm.
then or if we follow the dharma, then naturally we will be of benefit. I mean, in other words, that is the difference between the water evaporating from the hand versus water falling into the ocean. So we will be able to merge if we follow the
Correct. Absolutely.
if we follow the messages. So in other words, if we now everybody wants to follow the messages, but something drops, something blocks us, like desires and all those things. So if we are aware of it, and if we can curb them, put a ceiling on them, then we have the ability to slowly, even if not the drop falling into the ocean straight away, it may at least fall into a river that flows into the ocean.
So yeah, absolutely. I totally get. I'm totally with you on that, Venkaji. The other thing that I think, and I really was hoping to get to this passage where, Swami says rituals alone cannot lead to God realization. Why is that? We have to think. We all are doing some ritual. We have all taken up sadhana for of Gayatri mantra, but they are not just enough for us to realize him.
See, the rituals,
Mhm.
many times what happens is when the rituals get started,
Mhm.
the meaning and the significance is well thought of, and then it is done with a real intent. But once that intent is satisfied, or once it gets beyond a point, it becomes a ritual. So you don't even attach any importance to it. It just like you get up and you do something without even thinking as to why you are doing it. So I think that's what Swami means by rituals, not by,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I think we all know the story of a monk putting a basket on a cat that was disturbing him during meditation. And then his followers started, and then they all wanted to go and get a cat and put a basket on it, because
Yeah.
they thought that that's the way to do the meditation. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, the rituals become meaningless if we don't understand as to why we are doing that ritual. So coming back to that, I think the Gayatri chanting that we took up,
Mhm.
if we are going to mechanically chant Gayatri, Swami has never said to do that. Swami has said, even if the number doesn't matter,
Yeah.
even if you chant 9 times, if you just focus on the Gayatri and then do the chanting in the proper way, it will be beneficial. If you are just going to sit and then chant 108 times without,
And your mind is
and your
everywhere.
mind is wandering and thinking about all the things that have to be done, or something somewhere else, wandering somewhere else, then there is no point in doing that.
Correct. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the last question that I have here is about what he said about service to godly persons. And why this is important is, who does he consider as godly persons is very important, because godly persons is what we are thinking. Uh, Someone who is a guru, or who is all of those things. But I think uh, service to godly person is any person, because
Uh,
every
so,
that's what I think.
Sorry,
please go ahead.
Can we
please go
read
ahead.
that last paragraph one
Sure,
more
that's
time?
why I moved here.
Yeah.
So it says it is Swami does not approve of sadhana, spiritual practices. They are good activities for using time sacredly.
Sairam,
But
no, I think even when you
without,
read, Swami does not disapprove of sadhana.
sorry, did I said approved? Does
Yeah, that means
I thought I said does not disapprove.
no.
Yeah, absolutely. He does not disapprove. Oh my God, did I not read it correctly? Sorry. They are good activities for using time sacredly, but without service to godly persons. They are of no use for realizing freedom from the cycle of mundane existence. So, of course, Swami approved. It's not that Swami does not, he not only should we take up sadhana, we also need to do something more. And then we need to figure out who is that godly person. Do we start judging them? What is it? What does it mean? But without service to godly persons, any spiritual practice would be of no use.
See, the way I understand, is see, the other day, I think I also mentioned last week, I think I was listening to a talk by Gopi. His first name is Gopi Pidatala. And he mentioned that Swami told the Hyderabad boys when they came to do service to Puttaparthi, somewhere in the village seva, and they went back. He said that you get the benefit of doing the seva, not just by doing the seva, but also coming and seeking the blessings of the person. So, in other words, that grace from the elevated soul is definitely going to it acts like a catalyst. I think it accelerates our spiritual progress. So if we are just going to do something something good, let's say some good sadhana, some service activity that we are doing, along with that, if we also combine it with a prayer or with seeking of the blessings of elevated souls, I mean godly persons, I think Swami means elevated souls, then that helps in accelerating our spiritual progress. That's how I can see that. So without service to godly persons, they are of no use for realizing freedom from the cycle of mundane existence. So that's what I think Swami means. What he says is, because the grace is needed to facilitate in that spiritual progress. Otherwise, there will be more and more hurdles in the path of your spiritual progress. So their grace may help you and move forward, or you may develop that that faith, ardent faith, more maybe with the grace. I mean, I'm just saying that I think that's what he means. I am not 100% sure. Maybe others can pitch in.
If there is anyone else who would like to add. Also, I do think that without service, only sadhana is not the solution. They're good activities for using time sacredly, but without service, that is of limited use.
See, Sairam, I think what Swami is saying here is godly person is not saints, and as Venkat, you say, highly elevated people or persons. They might be ordinary person. They might be just, a person who needs some assistance. They might be, any needy persons. So Swami says God is in everyone, right?
Yes.
And that's why you help the person in front of you, because you think that the God is there. So service to humanity is service to God. So I debate this. A godly person doesn't mean here that saint or highly elevated persons, or like gurus or shastris, and I don't know. I may be wrong, but that's what I understand. What Swami in simple
Why
language
I posed
means.
that question. Yes, absolutely,
Yes,
Ravi.
yes, yeah. Thank you, Simon.
Sairam, we are almost at time. Does anyone have anything to add?
I think after hearing what Rajivji said, I think he's right. Here, maybe what Swami means by godly persons is persons, anybody, because all, I mean, we are all embodiments of God.
Yes,
So maybe that's what it is.
absolutely. Okay, Sairam, we will end today because this was my the end of my process here. I just wanted to remind everyone that life application is still our breath. You don't have to remember these words. Inhaling and exhaling is what we need to do. Be aware of that. Focus on it, maybe whatever time permits in your day, and whatever days you can get it done. That would be a great start. Again, on Saturday, we will start our session with a meditation, and we will get into the habit of this again is going to be a Advaitic meditation, and of course we will try to practice whatever it is that may appeal to you. I can definitely send the links as we see whenever you ask, basically. So, okay, with that, let's end with Om and Tri Shantis. Thank you all for being here today. Om Shanta Shanta Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.
Sairam.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.